Hello, everybody, and welcome to another legislative update. I'm Danny Richter. I'm the Vice President of Government Affairs for Citizens Climate Lobby. I want to begin this update with a couple of quotes. Here's the first quote. 13 grams of salt, 425 grams of water, 30 to 75 grams sourdough starter, depending on ambient temperature and available rise time, 500 grams flour. That is the basic recipe for all of the loaves of bread I bake. Here's another quote. Depending on how it is structured, a tax on carbon pollution could be the most powerful policy enacted by the United States to tackle climate change. Now, you're probably saying, yeah, Danny, that's the basic recipe for ambitious climate policies. Nice analogy, giant nerd. What scientist or economist did you get to say that? Well, actually, that was the New York Times reporting on Friday, September 24th, in an article titled, Democrats Consider Adding Carbon Tax to Budget Bill. In that same article, you have this. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, confirmed that the Senate Majority Leader had asked him to craft legislation that would put a price on carbon emissions with some kind of quote unquote carbon dividend. Guys, this is huge. We're talking about the Majority Leader of the Senate, and we're talking about the chairman of the Finance Committee. This is like me saying that I've bought the largest industrial mixer and the largest industrial oven you have ever seen, and I'm going to start shipping bread to all of you. And the presidents of the companies making the ovens and the mixers were saying, yep, we're going to do this. Stated differently, the policy we've been working on for more than 10 years is being reported on in one of the most prominent newspapers in our country, with confirmation that the major players in the Senate are working on putting the policy together. So this is why this is a really big deal. Even though we haven't seen the Senate's legislative language for this package as we had hoped to on September 15th, the last few weeks have brought the carbon pricing conversation fully out into the open in pieces like this in the New York Times, as well as in other outlets, and that's a great place to be. But Danny, you say, wasn't there a concerning kerfuffle amongst House Democrats last week? Doesn't that mean that all hope has left the world? Well, it is true that they suspended the laws of time and space in the House, and it is true that they did not reach a deal. Let me explain. Earlier this year, a deal was struck between House moderates and progressives, and a rule was passed that the House would vote on the joint bipartisan infrastructure bill that already passed the Senate, as well as the House version of a budget reconciliation package. That rule permitting a vote was set to expire on Thursday, September 30th. At the end of Thursday, they didn't have a deal, so they just didn't adjourn the session. So technically, last Friday, October 1st, was in the House still Thursday, September 30th. Those poor House representatives and their staff lost a whole day of the year. In the end, even that 48-hour day was not enough to reach a deal. And so the new deadline, there's been a new rule passed, that's been set for Halloween, when I'm sure that nothing otherworldly bending the laws of nature can possibly happen. So for us as climate activists trying to help Congress accomplish big things on climate, the delay is frustrating. But when you get right down to it, both moderates and progressives agree that the worst case is that Congress does nothing. So while I'd rather have not had this delay, I still think that a reconciliation bill stands a very good chance of happening. So now what can you do? Keep doing what you're doing. Our policy priority is front and center in the national discussion, and that people with their hands on the levers of power are thinking about it, and they want to do it. It's still important to keep up our supportive grassroots advocacy in the local media, social media, and in their communities, showing support for this policy and encouraging members of Congress to keep moving forward on it. You've already done a tremendous job of this year. But when things are starting to roll our way, that's not the time to stop pushing. This is the time to keep going forward, doing what you've been doing so well. So let's keep it up for at least a little bit longer. Thank you for all you've done, and thanks for listening.